Do you ever wonder how to run faster with less effort? I've been running for more than 15 years, competed against some of the best in the world as a professional triathlete, and coached thousands of runners to their personal best. But if I knew what I know now at the start of my journey, I would have become so much better, so much faster. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 key things that I would do differently if I was starting my running journey today. This is the video I wish I had when I began. The first thing I wish I knew when I started running was to use a video game framework. In a game, you want to level up as fast as possible, so you begin seeking ways to gain experience. This means taking on quests and battling bosses. The first time you face a boss, you might get beaten, but then you refine your strategy, you come back and you beat the boss, and you might even do it in a way to gain even more experience. Now, think of each run as its own boss fight. When I first started running, I made the mistake of going into every single boss fight without any clear goal or strategy. I was just running without knowing what I wanted to achieve or how I could gain the most experience possible. What I wish I had done sooner was to approach every single run with a clear goal. Whether it was to improve speed, build on my mindset, build endurance, or just clear my head. Without a clear objective for every run, it's like wandering around the game world with no plan and just hoping to level up. By setting a goal for each run, you're essentially setting up a quest line that will help you improve the specific skill that you want. You'll unlock new abilities like speed, endurance, or mental clarity, and you'll level up faster with every run. But without knowing how to run, it won't really take you that far. So how do we make sure that we run in the most efficient way possible?
By the way, if you want my best strategies that I don't include on the channel, including free training plans, then check out the link in the description below.
Imagine you're going to learn how to swim. You sign up for a class, you get ready, you go to the pool, and then your instructor just looks at you and say, "Now go swim for 60 minutes, and then I'll see you again next week." All confused, you ask, well, aren't we going to learn any technique or do some drills or something like that? The instructor just looks at you and says,
"You don't have to. Your body knows exactly how to swim in the most effective way possible for you."
I bet you would probably never go to that swim training again. Yet, when I started running, this was exactly what I did, and I see so many runners make the same mistake. They start running thinking that their technique are probably flawless, or they'll just get more efficient by just running more. If you ask any swim coach worth their profession, they'll tell you that technique is way more important than just improving your VO2 max. In fact, my swim coaches would pull me out of the water if they felt like my technique was dropping or getting worse during our practice. If I started running today, I would approach it exactly like swimming. I would spend as much time as I could learning about technique, refining my technique, doing drills, filming myself, getting coaches to look at me, because I know that if you have a more efficient stride, then the peak or how great of a runner you can become becomes so much higher. No amount of great shape or VO2 max is going to compensate for a bad running form. Yet, having a goal and a great running form won't help you much if you get injured, like unfortunately most runners do, and so did I. So how do we avoid these injuries that'll set us back for weeks or months? In 2016, I got an injury in my knee that was so bad that I could not run without severe pain. My coach told me that I had to stop running and take a break. During this break, I was going to strength train, even though that also hurt a bit. So for the next 8 weeks, I would do no running. I would only strength train. After those 8 weeks, I'd become so addicted to strength training that I kept doing it twice per week. To my surprise, something crazy happened. Not only was my knee pain gone, but I could train longer and harder without getting pain. And I could also run faster. A year later, I won the age group European Championships with more than 4 minutes. So what should you do? Realize that strength training only twice per week will help you avoid injuries, or at least minimize injuries, but it will also make you more powerful and make you run faster. It's not a question or a battle of being a gym rat or being a runner. You can and should do both. But while strength training is great, it's not the most common predictor of injuries. That is actually increasing your volume too fast, meaning that you do a lot more than you have done in the past. So how do we avoid that? And more importantly, how do we do it in a way that still maximizes our progress? When I started training seriously, I started with another guy. This guy also had a dream of going to the Olympics, and out of the two of us, he was clearly the most talented. He was faster than me, and everyone seemed to think that he was the next big thing. At the time, he was training like some of the best in the world, which was around 30 hours per week in triathlon. Me, on the other hand, I was only training 10 to 15 hours per week. The reason was because I've experienced burnout in my youth years when I was trying to make it as a cyclist. So I talked to one of the national team coaches about how I could avoid that, and he told me that if I truly wanted to be great, then I had to sacrifice every single race and result for the next 4 years. No race mattered. Only consistent training. I would start at 10 hours per week and then slowly build our ways up to 25 or even 30 hours per week. The most important thing was consistency, avoiding injuries, and avoiding burnout. Over the next 2 years, the guy I started with beat me in everything. Every training, every test, every competition. I didn't feel like I was making much progress, and I felt like I was stuck, but I trusted my trainer, so I just stuck with the plan. Then, at the start of my 3rd year, something happened. What seemed like out of nowhere, I started to beat him. I went from being one of the last in every competition to consistently getting in the top 10. People were starting to take notice. Other athletes said that I came out of nowhere. The overnight success. Of course, you and I know the true story. It was the years of incremental gains that was now starting to show. In the following year, the guy I started with stopped completely because he got injured and burned out. I went on to compete on the national team and travel the world. So here's what I wish I'd done in my teenage years. Don't try to train as much as you possibly can. As long as you are getting better, then keep going. Don't fix something that is not broken. Then, when you stagnate, and only then, we'll try to add more things. It could be volume or intensity or sleep or diet or something else completely. But that begs the question, where do you start? I'll show you exactly how in this video right here.